Good evening, VV Nation. My name is Ryan. Welcome to the channel. Happy Friday. Happy Halloween. Tonight, I can only think one thing to talk about, and that's going to be the moon. Now, you might be like, Ryan, why do you want to talk about the moon on a Friday? Now, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Glenn had talked about a stock, Lunar, L-U-N-R, about a year ago, right? We all know about the lunar mission. The thing tipped over. The stock's been all over the place, right? Now, I had a professor back in college. It was about 2010. I have a political science background. Now, one of my classes was international politics. And the professor, he taught, well, he actually did resolutions for the EU when it came to some of their space programs. And what he told me when it comes to the moon and why people want to get to the moon so bad, helium-3, an actual resource that's worth its own weight to bring back. Now, helium-3 does have to do with nuclear fusion, which we are a ways from, right? Still probably a decade or two away from that technology. But still, the US and China are in a race to go to the moon to extract lunar resources. Now, some of these resources include rare earths. Now, I don't see that being the reason why I'm investing. The reason why I'm investing is a little bit more speculative, and that's going to have to do with helium-3. So tonight's presentation, I'm going to show you exactly why I think the moon is so valuable between these two superpowers. I'm going to jump in the VectorVest 7 system, show you some stocks, show you some ETFs. So once again, you can profit from these geopolitical tensions. Would you like real actionable information and not just more data? Would you like to know what your stock is actually worth and how safe your stocks really are, whether they're a buy, hold, or sell recommendation? Check out this website. Just go to vectorvest.com/YTFSA for your free stock analysis report today. Just like on Earth, space is no different. The United States and China, they're racing for it, right? You can see right here, I keep things very simple. Simply ask Google, are China and the US racing to mine the moon right now? You can see the answer is clearly yes. They're competing to exploit lunar resources. Now, the first couple resources here, like water, that's going to be to sustain life and used for rocket fuel on the moon itself. You see rare minerals here. This includes rare earths, but helium-3 is going to be the focus. And my professor, this was about 15 years ago again, he was on to something. Now we're seeing why these two giants are racing to the moon right now. Not only is it going to be for economic value, the moon may hold resources like water for rocket fuel, things of that nature. Helium-3 for potential nuclear fusion. But there's geopolitical advantage of this, right? Controlling resource-rich areas of the moon, particularly the resource-rich South Pole. That's the race right there. Could provide a strategic advantage. Now, technological development, we all know how going to the moon can simply increase a country's technological advantage. You know, the effort to mine the moon drives advancements in robotics, right? Huge. China, one of the big leaders in robotics, space exploration, and new technologies. Now, as far as the key players, it's United States, and it has to do with the Artemis program. Artemis program is a program designed to put astronauts back on the moon within the next couple years. And China's got the ambitions as well. You can see aggressively plans to put astronauts on the moon by 2030. So the goal for the United States is to beat them to the moon. Simple as that. Now, the last thing I did want to talk about when it comes to space politics. Now, there is international law on this matter. However, international treaty from 1979 prohibits claims of ownership of celestial bodies. Some countries have passed laws that permit the ownership of space mined resources. Think about that. Everyone was, all happy to, get together and say, hey, we could share space. But now that there's resources, valuable resources involved, countries are claiming these resources. It's just a matter of who gets there first. Now, I've done some research, and China is leading in fusion technology right now. And again, just a couple decades away potentially from this technology. But why is helium-3 better than traditional nuclear fuels? You can see the highlighted area right there. It's safer and less radioactive waste. But not only is that radioactive waste less, but look at this. It creates charged particles that can be more easily contained and converted to electricity. So rather than have a bunch of radiation that you have to clean up, this has less radiation, and some of this waste can actually be used for additional energy resources. Now, this is the point I do want to make, though. This technology still potentially decades away when it comes to fusion energy, more particular helium 3 fusion. But guess what? We heard the same thing about quantum. And guess what quantum stocks are doing, right? They're starting to move up. And NVIDIA, at first, the CEO said, hey, that technology is pretty far out. But then shortly after, a few months after, said, hey, that technology is actually not that far out. We're seeing NVIDIA making more investments in quantum technology. That's why I want to put this stuff on your radar early. And this is why the moon is so important. The scarcity of helium-3 on Earth. You can see current global annual production is only around 200 liters. Now, this helium-3 is direct radiation from the sun that burns up in our atmosphere, but the moon has no atmosphere, so it's been absorbing this stuff for a very long time and is pretty abundant from the fuel samples that have been collected so far from the moon itself. All right, enough of that rabbit hole. Now we're in the VectorVest 7 system, and these are the 15 stocks and ETFs I have for you when it comes to moon exploration and advancements of our moon strategy going forward. At the top of the list, and the reason why this stock is at the top of the list, it's got the highest combination of VST, overall value, safety, and timing. Now, these indicators, 0 to 2 scale. Above 1 is a favorable rating. Below 1 is an unfavorable rating. The further you get away from that oscillation point of 1, it speaks to the magnitude of that favor. Now, as far as the stocks in general here, look at the percent price change. A lot of momentum in this basket of stocks as far as today. I will say this, the biggest caveat with this space, I've got value divided by price. You see our price column? You see the value column? It's not a price target. It's just what we currently feel the stock is intrinsically worth. Now, I will say there's not one undervalued stock in the entire bunch. These ones with a 1.0 here, these are the ETFs. So this is a very speculative, very overvalued space that investors are already starting to pour into, as you can tell. And as far as the growth rate and earnings here, not that great of numbers either. So very speculative bets, but we do have some buy recommendations when it comes to some of these stocks here, as well as some sell recommendations. So we'll see if there's any bottom fishing opportunities. So let's jump in the charts to see if there's any trade setups to take advantage of. All right, first up on the list is going to be Caterpillar. Already, I like the lower left, upper right price action, but I will say fundamentally, some things I don't like. Value, the green line here, is on the decline. Our forecasted 12-month leading forecasted EPS on the decline. I do like the tick up recently, but look at the growth rate and earnings here. It's actually -3 on the decline as well. But I do like this price action. I will say I am looking for a little bit of a pivot potentially on a pullback right around 546 at the swing high. As we take a look at the next position here, we've got ARKX. This is the Arc Space and Innovation Fund. Again, lower left, upper right price action. I like this smooth price action here. You can see investors already getting enthused and momentum to the upside. RT been in favorable territory the entire time over the last 6 months. Price action going from $18 to $31. Now, as I continue to scroll down these stocks here, again, another ETF, lower left, upper right, great performance. RT in favor of the bulls right now, above 1. Here's another stock, AST Space Mobile. If you're looking for confirmation on this position, you can take out the prior swing high around $84.30. Now, as far as the forecasted data here, earnings per share is on the decline and negative, while growth rate and earnings remains flat at -7. So again, fundamentals not the best, but the momentum is here for a lot of these companies. Planet Labs exhibiting that again, lower left, upper right. Currently is a hold recommendation on the pullback, but I do like EPS on the rise, even though it's negative, moving in the right direction, and growth rate in positive territory, currently sitting at just 10%. Here's the Spider Final Front ETF. Again, lower left, upper right, so you can see the collection of these stocks is in favor of the bulls. One of the reasons why I wanted to put this on your radar, good momentum plays. Here's Rocket Lab, been a crowd favorite as of recently here. You can see buy level support here. If it drops much lower than $55, I would get concerned on that right now. Our stop price, this blue line, right in my level support here. So if you see price action break this blue line, that's when our sell recommendation would be given. Now, again, look at the value here. Very overvalued space. So stick to the technicals on these positions. Now, here's Northrop Grumman. I like price action, lower left, upper right. A little bit of a pullback right now in the defense space, but look at the value ticking up. I do like that. Even though the stock is overvalued, I see that momentum in the valuation. Along with that, rising earnings per share, nice, steady stair-step fashion. And the growth rate coming in at 3%. As I continue to scroll down here, here's Lockheed Martin. Now, this is a stock that just broke its 200-day moving average. If you're looking for level support here, it could come back for a retest. Otherwise, if you're looking for confirmation, can take out the prior swing high around 516. But RT is in favor of the bulls right now. The stock was under pressure, but getting its act together. Earnings per share on the rise. Now, the growth rate in earnings, -4. So that's going to be my one caveat with this position. Now, as far as Lunar, started at about $8 6 months ago. Now, just over $11. You can see earnings per share moving in the right direction over the last 6 months. Growth rate in earnings, highest in the list so far at 14%. But the stock is trading at a premium right now. We only value the company at just $1.10. And the rest of these companies here, not bad. Here's Boeing. I'm not a big Boeing fan, to be honest. You can see the stock's way overvalued. RT showing weakness in the price action. So I'm not going to put this one really on your radar. I just want to put it in the list here. If you're comfortable with Boeing, hey, that's on you. Now here's Redwire Corp. We got a sell recommendation. One thing I like about this stock, look at the value. It's meeting price action, right? We can see price action just above the valuation. So if I get a little more of a tick up in value, maybe even in the zone I have, I would like to see that as far as a value play. Now, as far as price action, we've been in the zone for quite a while. So unless price action gets above around $10, I'm not going to get too excited on it. Now, if you are in this, look for a break at the prior swing low. You're going to look around $7.50 for that break. Voyager Technologies, this company just IPO'd not too long ago. You see price action to the downside. I wouldn't jump in this one quite yet. You see value kind of rising, price action dropping, maybe meet somewhere in the middle. Hopefully, if it goes down to $20 and value keeps rising, then I could see it as actually a really good investment. Otherwise, I don't even see much momentum here as well. RT below 1, not in favor of the bulls. One thing I do like, look at the growth rate in earnings since the company came out was negative, now positive 7%. Do like that a lot. Black Sky Technology, I got a level of resistance coming in around 23.49. Treat that more like a zone. So if price action get above the swing high here, I'm looking at a target around $29. But my level support is around 18 to 16.57. So if price action breaks this, then I would get more defensive. But you see RT relative timing already putting the warning out for the bulls on this position. Now, as far as the forecasted data, we got growth rate just 1% and EPS currently negative right now. Moving in the right direction, but it is negative. So just be careful with some of these positions. Now, here's Momentous Inc. If I scroll this back to a 1-year stock, you can see the stock greatly under pressure, was trading at a premium, right? That's why I want to get in these stocks. Have patience. Let these stocks come to you. Let them, hey, you may not get them undervalued, right? But at least try to get them as close to the valuation as possible. If you're thinking for the long term, right? If you're thinking more short term, just stick to the technicals. Look at something like RT. Make sure that the price trend is in favor of the bulls. Now, the earnings per share, I do like it ticking up. But look at negative $47. Not happy with that. Look at the growth rate in earnings dropping down at 4%. So it's not the time for this position. You want to see some optimism in this position? Let's see it get above $2. Let's see that value start to tick up a little bit. Then I can get a little bit more excited. Otherwise, very speculative play when it comes to this aerospace and defense manufacturer. Now, again, my name is Ryan. Hope you guys have a safe, happy Halloween. Enjoy your time with the friends and family. I hope you enjoyed today's content. Just wanted to put some good stocks on your radar as we've seen these geopolitical tensions bring opportunities to investors. Now, if you did enjoy the content, hit the like button. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. And I'll see you guys next week.